teachers have read it. Have you ever had a crush on a student? What happened? Someone I know dated their freshman English teacher right after leaving high school. She had a few kids with him. One of those kids is me. I've had a couple of crushes on some high school juniors and seniors as a teacher. What happened was I'm a person with judgment and self-control, and not an animal, and kept that shit to myself, and did my job, and wished them good luck when they graduated. But if I felt any physical attraction to a student who was emotionally immature, that shit faded quickly, since I'm not attracted to children. A cute 17-year-old who acts like a kid is hard to see as an adult. A cute 17-year-old who acts like an adult is hard to see as a kid. But again, I'm not tempted to act on every single impulse. Temptation comes in many shapes and many forms between a light delight or small escapes from life's mundane routine. Temptation's often sweet, but still, your choices take their toll, and life is meant to teach you will and strength and self-control. Temptation's hard to check, to wit. Temptation's tough to fight, but as you're not a piece of shit, you'll try to choose what's right. I can die a happy man now. I taught in a pretty rough Chicago public school 5 years ago, and one of my freshman students had a hard crush on me. He was a gangbanger, but was so sweet. He would bring me an apple every day, always offer to stay after class to help clean the chalkboard, and even wrote me a love poem for Valentine's Day. I have to admit, he was pretty cute, and I was flattered. I sucked his dick one day after class. I figured, he's 38 years old. What's the worst that could happen? Teaching undergrad uni students. I'm a PhD student. Had a crush, and did nothing. On two occasions however, students had crushes on me and did act. One went nowhere, for the other I waited until I wasn't teaching them anymore. Currently still going out with them. It's hot. You're such a muffin magnet. I thought one of my college profs had a crush on me. I definitely had a crush on him. Then one day he said, "Sarah, I have to tell you something." I braced myself for a sexy professor college makeout sesh. "You look just like my sister." Homp homp. Maybe he's into that kind of thing. I did attend college in Westeros. He didn't hit on me until after I graduated. He was my school cop and taught the law enforcement class, nearly my dad's age, and married. He is super attractive though. I would have gone to Pound Town if he didn't have a wife. Edit. Obligatory thank you to the kind stranger for the gold. This really blew up, I think because of my choice of verbiage. Everyone who has been to Pound Town, I love you. My most upvoted comment is about my high school cop wanting to duck me. Not bad. This was back in the late 70s, but my so's aunt started teaching high school right after college. She was 21. Her first year on the job she developed a crush on this high school junior. He was 17 at the time. Anyway, they flirted and hung out after school all the time, and once he turned 18 they started dating. They are now married and have been for 40 plus years. They think the story is adorable and tell everyone. As a former teaching, I cringe every time I hear it. I'm a teacher and there are some cute seniors that I have as students. However, if you ever find yourself actually attracted to any of them, a great way to get over that is to just talk with them for a few minutes. I had the situation in reverse. The student had a huge crush on me. She arranged her classes, free time and extra projects so that we'd always be in the same area or room. As cute as she was, I was consistently careful and professional in my approach, keeping her at arm's length and showing her no more attention than other students. She was tenacious, but rather than embarrass her in front of peers or faculty, I took the long approach, wearing her down incrementally by maintaining appropriate even-handedness despite her overt gestures and expressions. Eventually, it worked. It was taxing for me, but I took satisfaction knowing that I didn't cause her to become the subject of gossip or mean-spirited speculation. Nice try, FBI. Not today. They would never do such a thing. Not me, but a friend of mine is a teacher for high schoolers. When he started, he was only 3 or 4 years older than the seniors 17 to 18 years, so he said it was really awkward having thoughts where a student was attractive because he was a teacher now. He also told me that he often got gifts and love notes from students back then too. My freshman year of high school I was about approximately a year older than most everyone else in my grade, and we got a teacher fresh from college who just turned 21. It was really strange having an educator that had such a small gap in age with us all. She constantly got hit on by a lot of the guys, whether out loud in comments or through lines in essays or other projects. Even the girls in my app class were pressuring her about needing to get pregnant. She got married while in college, so it wasn't like they were talking about having her hook up. Still awkward. Wound up having her for 3 years in a row, freshman, sophomore and junior years, and it drove me freaking crazy. She had no command of the classroom and let us all run over her. I sat back one day and counted how many times she asked/said "nkaj," and it was over 3 dozen times. From then on I never heard anything else she said in lectures apart from that single word. I only caught onto the mannerism when I started watching South Park. It was hilarious at first. It got worse every consecutive year. Edit. Timely subject. Just seen a link on Facebook where a teacher same school I graduated from was booked earlier this week on a $10,000 bond for sexual misconduct with a student. I actually had classes with that teacher while she was a student. This reminds me of an English teacher I had as a freshman. She was super hot and all the guys knew it. I decided I would be funny and turn in my essay with "you're hot" printed between lines in the tiniest font possible in Word. You could read it if you had a magnifying glass. I look back on it and just cringe. I really embarrassed myself that day, although I never heard anything from it. Dude, if only you had said "you're hot," then it totally could have worked. I'm a female teacher. I have been teaching for less than 10 years. I have had 2 students who, I can't say I've crushed on them. I've certainly been attracted to them. Both were in my first few years of teaching. The students were 17 to 18, and the attraction to them came from absolutely nowhere. It was like being smacked in the head with a bat both times. They were both very tall, intelligent, goofy, cuddly looking gingers. I have a thing. One made a pass at me during graduation about 6 years ago. He followed me to my classroom during the ceremony when I left to change my shoes, but I firmly and politely declined and got the hell out of there. Nothing sexual or untoward ever happened, and nothing ever would, because my career means a lot to me. I hear the guy who made a pass on me is now a police officer. I can't say I haven't had thoughts about him pulling me over. A hot, fit guy in uniform? Mercy. One time at junior high there was a football game that was students versus teachers, and a student crushed a teacher and cracked his ribs. This is the kind of content that I came to this thread for. Honestly, yes. I've been a university lecturer since I was 25. All of my students are adults, mostly in the 18 to 22 range, but often a little older than that. I'm a single man. The little crushes and attractions happen from time to time. Nothing has ever come of it directly, because I'm absolutely committed to the principle of not taking advantage of my position. Whether they're 18, 45, or anywhere in between, they are a person placed under my stewardship and care, and I have a responsibility and a duty to respect that which I absolutely will not breach. I have, however, had a brief relationship with a student who had no connection to the courses I teach. We didn't meet at the university either. We met at a party with mutual friends. She just happened to be an undergraduate at the same institution where I'm employed. I didn't see any conflict of interest, and it didn't breach any regulations I did check. Morally speaking, I don't think I have any questions to answer there. University lecturer since 25. Are you like super smart or something? I would assume you got your PhD at 24. Could have a master's and teach while in the grad program. I started teaching at 26 as an adjunct. Nope. I'm a perfectly ethical person who does perfectly ethical things. My thoughts are always professional. I'm not just saying this because I'm afraid my account is being watched. America is the best. Yay, Eagles. Okay, so I'm not the teacher but the student. I had a huge crush on my freshman social studies teacher. We would joke around, and I ended up being his TA my sophomore year. He ended up quitting halfway through my junior year because of a fake rumor this one girl spread when he gave me his attention and not her. When I turned 18 he texted me to say he could talk to me now that I'm legally an adult. And then he came to my friend's house when I was 19 with wine. We ducked in his car. He ended up quitting halfway through my junior year because of a fake rumor this one girl spread when he gave me his attention and not her. I somehow have doubts about this rumor being fake. I teach at a community college. I had a foreign student last semester who I crushed on. To be fair, he was probably 10 years older than me. I'm young for this field. He had a sexy accent and incredible work ethic and used to wrestle at the national level. So he was in great shape. Nothing happened. He ended up being a phenomenal student looks and accent aside, and I wrote him the most gushing recommendation letter I have ever written a student at the end of the semester, but he deserved it. Note to self, get foreign accent to get laid. Good lord, no. I teach high school students. They are smelly and immature. It's not something I have ever or would ever even consider. I know of only one teacher in the school that has rumors surrounding him. I know it does happen, but the vast majority of teachers just are not going to get crushes on students. When I was younger and started teaching high schoolers I was really nervous about it. Being so close in age it just was something that stayed on my mind. Then you realize how formative those years of life still are, and how even the most outlier of maturity will still show their true, shitty, high schooler selves to you eventually. Haha. Kills any attraction you could possibly have. Professor of Archaeology here, and while I've never had a crush on a student it seems I get a plethora of undergraduates that somehow find my scruffy face and adventurous behavior attractive. I was actually teaching Archaeology 101 one day and the class was almost at an end. A student asked me about the Neolithic period which I indulged him with a brief tangent. After coming back to the topic of the barrows and chambers underneath Agiletown, the topic of that day's lesson, a girl sitting in the front row blinked at me. I thought I saw something on her eyelids which caused me to stutter initially. She blinked again, and I saw the words "I love you" written on her eyelids in mascara. Good evening, Dr. Jones. When I was online dating, before I met my current BF, I ran into my old English teacher from high school. I'm a guy and he's a guy, so I thought nothing of it, because me and him never really interacted beyond class. 2 days later I get a long message from him saying hello, that he never imagined running into me online and always thought I was cute and handsome, and wanted to meet up. He ended the message with, "We all have urges, right? I don't think I'm too old for you lol." The age difference was 14 years. Never responded. In hindsight he was nice, if a little awkward and creepy around male students. He still teaches at the same school last I heard. He waited till you were out of school and gave it a shot online. I can't really fault him. When I was a grad student teaching courses, if a student was attractive of course I noticed. I was only like 4 years older than them on average. I can't say it actually changed the way I taught to them or graded them, and obviously I didn't do anything. I will tell you that students coming on to me happened a handful of times. That was definitely uncomfortable. It was usually for extra credit. We had a professor who had just gotten his PhD and was working on his second one. The triad of tall, dark, and handsome with a South American accent. All the girls in class were very attentive. Former student here, throw away for obvious reasons. So, I actually have a story related to this. I actually pursued a relationship with a teacher. My senior year of high school I was a teacher aide for one of our biology teachers. I had an easy schedule and spent a lot of my free time helping her out in her classes. She had divorced her husband a few years back and pretty much never talked about it. She was attractive and very kind. Looking back it was stupid of me to risk something like that, but my hormones, and I got the courage up to basically ask her if she wanted to hang out. Much to my surprise she said yes. For the rest of my senior year I would sporadically head to her house and she rode my baloney pony. I never spoke to anyone about it, and we never changed how we acted in school. Still keep in touch to this day. My senior English teacher, we'll call her Ms. Jones, was a younger lady in her early 30s that a lot of my class, admittedly including myself, thought was hot. She'd seem to mildly tease us during class, but only to an extent that it wasn't obvious. One of my close friends, we'll call him Brett, shared the same class with me. Shortly after the beginning of the second semester, Brett told me that he had scored a date with Ms. Jones. Even knowing her teasing tendencies and his way with women, the news came as a surprise to me. I honestly never thought anything of that nature would occur between Ms. Jones and one of her students. Fast forward about a week later, the morning after Brett's date. Brett came up to me just before first hour looking absolutely petrified. He then proceeded to tell me how the entire night went down. They went to a nice sushi house downtown, she paid, and then went back to her place. At that point she blindfolded him, led him downstairs, and revealed her elaborate kink chamber. Brett freaked out, busted out of her house, and ran home, which was about 4 to 5 miles away. Brett switched himself out of my English class that very day. This just didn't happen. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to my channel for more curated daily Reddit stories.